What's up, Star Wars fans? This is Darth Watson. In this video, I want to talk to you guys about this whole idea that a lot of people are talking about. Den of Nerds is promoting it, but I'm not going to be calling him out as much. It'd be mainly like people like Doomcock and Mike Zero that would be peddling such nonsense like this about how Dave Filoni is attempting to retcon the sequel trilogy, which a lot of legitimate sources have debunked this argument time after time after time, as well as employees at Lucasfilm has also debunked it. It's been well debunked several times, and it's a completely stupid argument that people are still peddling around. I mean, didn't Jon Favreau confirm 2 years ago that The Mandalorian leads to the sequel trilogy? There are no retcons in Star Wars, and that is a fact. I mean, there are no retcons in Star Wars. The reason why is because every Star Wars movie that comes out, like whether it's a movie, show, or video game, they all lead directly into the sequel trilogy, including books and novels and comic books. They all lead into the sequel trilogy. So that completely debunks the whole retcon idea, especially with Jon Favreau confirming that The Mandalorian leads to the sequel trilogy. It actually leads to the sequel trilogy, but then there's people like Overlord DVD that would be peddling such nonsense about the sequel trilogy, like about the sequel trilogy getting retconned by Dave Filoni and using him as heir apparent to George Lucas, which, just because he's heir apparent to George Lucas does not mean he's going to retcon the sequel trilogy. I mean, every Star Wars project, whether you like it or not, is going to lead to the sequels. And whether you loved or hate the sequel trilogy, in fact, I know a lot of people hated on The Last Jedi when it came out, but didn't you know The Last Jedi actually took up the most inspiration from George Lucas's sequel trilogy outlines when he sold Star Wars to Disney? That is a fact. That is in writing. That is in concept art of The Force Awakens and the art of The Last Jedi. And if you don't believe me, purchase the books for yourself, because I'm telling you, Rian Johnson took up the most inspiration from George Lucas's sequel trilogy treatment when he sold Star Wars to Disney. But the point of this video is that it's completely ridiculous. It's a stupid argument that Dave Filoni is attempting to retcon the sequel trilogy. It's a completely stupid argument, and people need to let that go. It's already been well debunked numerous of times. It's not going to happen. There is no reboot of the sequel trilogy, and when it's 100% debunked in 2025, the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens, then I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to turn on Doomcock and Mike Zero and the entire fandom menace who kept peddling such nonsense about the sequel trilogy reboot or the ongoing war inside Lucasfilm. In fact, this argument is nothing new. This relates to the Civil War in Lucasfilm that the fandom menace wouldn't stop talking about. Especially like Doomcock and Mike Zero, who keep talking about all this garbage and nonsense about the sequel trilogy being retcon or rebooted. It's completely nonsense, and I don't like anything Mike Zero's got to say. None of it makes sense. Every single one of his videos all sounds like it's made up, and I don't buy into any of their crap. I read from the sources, the legitimate sources, and I always name my sources. Overlord DVD, Doomcock Overlord, never names his sources. All he says, I have a source coming out confirming 85% of what I said is true. Although, how can 85% be confirmed? And that's how you know that Overlord DVD is lying. Overlord DVD is a known liar. So, but anyways, like, The Mandalorian leads to the sequel trilogy. Dave Filoni is not retconning the sequel trilogy. It's all complete made-up garbage that the Fandom Menace people and Doomcock and Mike Zero be peddling. and it's complete nonsense. And another thing, Kathleen Kennedy is not leaving. It's completely false, although there has been some rumor from somewhat legitimate source like the direct.com, but I don't believe that Kathleen Kennedy's leaving, and I don't believe that Kevin Feige's taken over. So, but anyways, that's all I have to say for this video. Do make sure to smash a like, subscribe, comment, and I will catch you all later in another video.